Gee, I like a nice cold beer. I just love to get home from work on a Friday and crack open a can of icy cold beer and drink it out of my favourite stubby holder. Ah, beautiful. It's a ripper. I got it one weekend on a footy trip with the boys. Check it out. We had a barbecue around at Dad's place one summer back in 2004, and I packed a beautiful esky full of cans with the perfect amount of ice to keep them cold for the whole day. I had my favourite stubby holder on my wrist and I was ready to go. It was perfect. What a great day it was going to be. Little did I know what was going to happen. It was going to be a bigger day than I thought. When I got to the party, I opened the lid of the esky, and as I did, I realised that my stubby holder wasn't on my wrist. Immediately I started to panic. I checked my pockets, it wasn't there. I decided to check under the ice of the esky. Maybe it had fallen in when I was packing it. It looked so good and I didn't want to move all the ice and the beautifully placed cans, but I was really starting to panic about my stubby holder, so I started digging. I looked and looked and looked, and then I saw it. It was sitting there plain as day. But there was something wrong, something terrible. I couldn't believe what I could see. It's times like these when you would need a beer, but heaven forbid, I couldn't drink a beer without my favourite stubby holder. This is a disaster. Everyone at the party was staring at me, pointing, asking what's the matter, what are you doing? I didn't know what to do. I got my phone out of my pocket and dialed AAA. I told the operator my emergency. It took a while because I was so distressed my hands were shaking. The operator wasn't too impressed. She didn't understand. She doesn't know what it's like to love something and then lose it. She said someone could have died because I wasted her time. What would she know? What could be more important than my situation? I gave up on the emergency services and decided to try and get the stubby holder out of the ice a different way. I needed to calm down and think, what would Dad do? He's drunk a lot of cans in his day. So I went to find him. He sat me down and then he told me we'd come up with a plan. I knew he could help me. Then it came to me. Well, both of us at the same time. I saw a bird and it gave me a great idea. It was so simple. I can't believe I didn't think of it earlier. It's obvious how I'm going to thaw it out. Birds sit on eggs in a nest to keep their eggs warm. Warmth helps the eggs to hatch, but warmth could also melt ice. It's science. I ran to the esky and took out the frozen stubby holder and found a place to nest. Dad and I were going to take it in turns. We figured out with the size of the block of ice and the current temperature, it would take exactly 3 hours and 34 minutes. I was really thirsty at this stage and didn't know if I could go on, but my stubby holder needed me and I needed her. It had to be done. I took the first shift. Dad and I decided to take it in turns until it was melted. Half an hour's work each and then we swapped. After that long, your bum temperature would decrease 30 degrees. Hence, this would be an ineffective temperature to melt ice of this magnitude. After sitting on the block of ice, I realised your bum gets bloody freezing. We were right about the half an hour idea. Good thinking. Dad got on next. The block was slowly melting. We kept up the rotation as planned. It all seemed to be going well. We each had a few turns and finally I thought I could get my beloved stubby holder back. I sat on it one last time and gave it my all for maximum meltability. My stubby holder was free. I shed a tear. Finally it was defrosted. Dad and I jumped around in excitement. All of a sudden we stopped, looked at each other and nodded. Dad walked over the esky, brought me back an ice cold beer. I put it in the holder and cracked it open. I raised it to my lips, took a sip, turned it a bit more than a sip. I was very thirsty after working so hard to melt the ice. It was the best beer I'd ever tasted. Dad patted me on the back and said, "You earned it, son." That's my story. I still have that stubby holder to this day.